So here we are back at the Hardcore Hotline. We're talking to another band, well, a person who is in a band. Today we have Christian Nielsen from a band called Meadows. Christian, why are you here?
I'm here because I was told I had to be here, um, but I'm here nonetheless.
Mm,
So
mm-hmm,
I do happen to be in a band. I play the microphone.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's really the best instrument that there is.
for sure. You need little to no talent. And you get to talk to people, and at the end of the show, people usually know who you are, unlike like the bassist, or the bassist. Yeah, mostly. Okay, so the last album you came out with, it was last year. Um, in those days and also after is the name of it. Which I mean, it's not very catchy, but that's fine, I guess. This album had a lot of storytelling. I don't know what the story was because we couldn't understand you, but it was obviously a story. Yeah. Do you have anything new coming out, and will it also be a story?
It's a great question. As my mom, if she could have had her way, there would be lyrics behind us because she feels the same way as you. Just
Mm-hmm.
can't understand you. Um, so no, Mom, I don't think we'll incorporate like the youth group vibe kind of
Mm-hmm.
deal
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
into our live set. Maybe it already
Right.
is there. We just don't have the projector going for the lyrics to be
Yeah, for
front and center.
sure.
But we're working on a new album.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like it's always a story, isn't it? I mean, whether it's 12 small stories or one overarching story, or in the case of in those days and also after, it was initially like three small stories that all became one big story. And, it's all a story. My life's a
Yeah.
story.
Yeah,
So
that sounds like it maybe belongs on like Wattpad or something, maybe as like a fun little fan fiction. Um,
it's where it comes from. Yeah.
Last year, a lot of people, I'm not gonna say how many, it might be an embarrassing number, were introduced to you because you played Furnace Fest. What was that experience like?
Um, that experience still lives on today.
Mhm.
I think it's probably why we're here right now, even. We even did a run through the Midwest
Mhm. Mhm.
afterwards, and every single time we played a show in any city, someone said, "Hey, saw you guys at Furnace Fest." So
Wow.
it's carried a lot of momentum for us. We're
Mhm.
very grateful for it.
Mhm.
At the same time, one of these days we might step outside of that shadow. That's a pretty big shadow. I
That is
don't
a
know that we
huge
will.
shadow.
I don't know that
Mhm.
we will. And you know what?
Mhm.
I'll ride that coattail as long as I have to. So
Yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
big deal.
How many people do you think watched you guys play on purpose?
At least 20.
Wow, that is
Well,
such a big number, double
I
digits.
don't want to go further than that.
Well, Carl, this year you're playing the pre-show. You're not playing Furnace Fest, you're playing the pre-show, which is just as important. Who are you playing with?
Yeah, so definitely just as important. That needs to be reiterated.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally.
It will be us definitely opening up. Don't
Okay,
get too excited.
perfect,
um,
perfect.
Followed by Shai Hulud and um, Unearth and Evergreen Terrace, and I'm pretty sure Unearth will be headlining, but it's
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
incredible. So,
Yeah,
we're just riding those coattails, baby. That's all it is. We're
absolutely.
going.
Yeah, and it got you a show with Evergreen Terrace. They are a band.
They are.
Um, and I think that we all have listened to at least a few of their songs. So opening for them, such an honor, such an honor. And I'm pretty sure that if we take this clip of us just talking about how mediocre they are, put it on Instagram and tag them, they'll reshare it. Because as we know, if you tag Evergreen Terrace, in anything, they'll reshare it. So with that said, with playing with these hardcore giants, like Unearth and Shai Hulud, uh, are you nervous?
You know, extremely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm. But that's every time we go out
Yeah.
there. So whether it's, 10 or 10,000, I'm probably going to throw up. So
Excellent. Great visual. So, are you playing any shows leading up to that pre-show? I know that there's only a few short weeks until Furnace Fest.
leading up to it,
Mhm.
no. We have just introduced a new tiny baby band member to the band. Our guitarist Stone is now officially a dad.
Oh.
Um, so that was yesterday. And
Yesterday he had a
yes,
child.
well, his wife did, but
Well, yes, but we don't
they
discriminate.
they brought a child into the world, and we're
Mm.
very, very happy and supportive of that. So we're trying to figure out practicing until then. So
It's fine.
um,
Just bring that child to practice. Throw that baby in the pit. It'll be fine. So does that disrupt any plans that you had for touring later this year, or do you have an idea of when you might want to start playing shows out of state again?
yeah, so we actually have a tour lined up that we are
Mm.
still full go for. That'll be in November 5th through the 12th.
Hmm.
We'll be out starting in San Diego, heading up the West Coast,
Okay.
getting up through, Cupertino, Grants Pass, Boise, Spokane, Seattle, Portland, Sacramento. That'll be with The Undertaking, who I think
Mm.
you've spoken to someone from
Um,
that band, Macho Man.
I've never heard of them, so sorry.
And also Fallstar, who's some label mates of ours on
Hmm.
Facedown.
Hmm.
And then beyond that would be the ongoing concept, returning to have a really good four-band package, hopefully.
Wow. Well, I hope at least sevens of people make it to
Sevens.
those shows. That sounds like so much money for you to
Mm.
spend on that, but maybe you'll send maybe you can sell some fun t-shirts. Maybe don't put your band name on them.
Maybe we did that once, ironically,
Hmm.
and sold all of them.
Oh,
So
well.
maybe that's the way to go when they don't have to support Meadows,
Hmm.
but they
Hmm.
support a nice design.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's true. Or maybe they just support the idea of a meadow in general. Okay, so are you going to Furnace Fest this year, even though you're not
um,
playing?
yeah, so I mean, I know we're not playing.
Hmm.
It is the pre-show that we are playing, which
Yeah.
is the night before all of it happens. So
Yes.
we'll definitely be there,
All
hanging
three
out
days.
all 3 days.
Hmm.
Stone's got another band that he plays drums in, called Just Like Heaven, that will be
Hmm.
playing. So we'll definitely support them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and hopefully someone will watch Little Noble while he's doing so. um, but yeah, so we'll be there. Super excited.
I hear that you have an interesting little story from last year's Furnace Fest. What is it?
Yeah, and this is really just kind of a cautionary tale, if you
Oh
will,
no.
for anyone attending Furnace Fest.
Oh.
There's a likely chance, since there are so many bands, that you'll be walking beside someone from a band that you perhaps really like,
Hmm.
but you just don't know what they look like
Yes,
because
okay.
you only like their music.
Hmm.
So, it was just one of those moments where I had just gotten there and I was really, I guess, hungry or something. I don't know. We were heading back towards like where the food was, and um, I was taking a path, which was the actual path, and then these two guys that were with me took some kind of shortcut, if you will, and they
Hmm.
just wound up in front of me, kind of a ways down. So I thought that
Hmm.
was really weird.
Yeah.
Um, was kind of elaborating a bit. We just chatted up for a while about, hey, this was like on was it Ghost Hunters? They had a Sloss Furnace
They
episode.
did, yes. Lost
Um,
furnaces are
you know,
haunted.
I was like, they turn it into a haunted house kind of thing in October. It's really awesome. Where are you guys from? They're like, oh, Nashville. I was like, oh, Nashville's really cool. And then we finally get over to where the food is. And I'm like, so I'm sorry, are you in a band? Like, and they're like, yeah, we're with As Cities Burn. And I was like, oh, um, well, hey, I love your music, first of all, but I had no idea. It's just one of those things where I started thinking about it. I was like, I don't know what half the people look like. Well over, I want to say like 90%.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
mean,
mm-hmm.
and at that point, they really need to be a vocalist.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
you
You
know,
can't you cannot be the bassist and expect
just
anyone to recognize you in any way,
it's
shape, or form.
so everyone just be sure you start doing your homework. Make flashcards if you have to. If there's bands that you're really wanting to see,
Hmm.
at least know what they look like.
Um, that is an excellent cautionary tale. We have heard of callers who have gone to merch tables, thought they were talking to a band member, or vice versa, did not realize they were talking to a band member and felt so embarrassed afterward. And I can think of nothing more embarrassing. I know people think you shouldn't worry about it. It happens all the time. But if you do that, we will at the hotline, we will find out about it. And we will actually send you a postcard yearly to remind you of this incredibly embarrassing experience. So please make sure that you do your homework. I I love that you were just hanging out with your new pals and all of a
Had no
sudden
idea.
just no idea. Well, and it was after the pandemic, so they get haircuts.
Maybe
They change their shirt. Um, I,
finally.
yeah, I know that Andrew from Comeback Kid never does, but it's fine. Whereas Jay from Shai Hulud does not wear a shirt, so it can go either way. Um, are you, speaking of which, I know that you're opening for them. Will you also be taking off your shirts?
Fat chance.
Okay. Are you going to at least wear the Hoochie Daddy shorts?
I would I would need more tattoos.
Mm, okay. Well, there is the pop-up before Furnace Fest. It is
True.
free. Yes, you can get a little tattoo there. The tattoos are not free. I know that that's going to be the next question that we get. I know that you are part of that weird little Facebook group for the Furnace Fest community. Are you hoping that maybe people will recognize you and they'll want to be your friend, or do you want people to leave you alone?
I love people.
Wow.
So I would hope that they would recognize me. Sometimes I just look really disappointed or
You
really kind of
do.
put off.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I'm probably just hot
Hmm.
and come say, hey, punish me,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. Maybe you can hang out at that little Furnace Fest community people booth and you can meet all of your fans. So many fans, I'm sure that would love to
All six of them
all yes,
that
yes.
hopefully went to the pre-show.
Absolutely. Yeah, they'll be wearing your shirts. Wow, what a fun little dream. We all have dreams. And you guys are from Alabama, so it's got to be pretty convenient to have this in your backyard. I mean, you don't even have
Almost,
to.
yeah, almost literally. The workspaces that we don't have the building anymore, but parked at our workplaces.
Mhm.
One of them I think was rented out as a parking lot space for Furnace Fest last year
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Armando's work. So it's crazy. I mean, we would be, at the desk. I mean, you could hear the music coming from there. So
A lot of people talked about Furnace Fest and they said that it really reignited their love of going to shows and hardcore. Do you think that Furnace Fest rekindled the hardcore scene out near you, or was it going strong and it was just sort of a natural festival to have there?
I think a rekindling and a reigniting is a good way to put it. I think
Hmm.
for a lot of like the older bands that don't play anymore that like reunited to come do it, I think
Hmm.
it made it special and it kind of put a lot of people back in a headspace where they don't go to shows anymore, but
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
I have to go to that. So I think it creates that kind of moment where it's like I can't miss this at all.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think the hardcore community here is blossoming. Um, I don't know that it's necessarily because of that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's I think a lot of people from out of town maybe carried it back with them.
Hmm.
So I think it's kind of just reignited a lot of people that got out of it and realized that they shouldn't have maybe.
Yeah,
Or realize
yeah.
or maybe they did realize that they should have. And they're like, I am too old. My
Yes.
knees, my back,
Yeah, yeah.
the sciatic nerves. I
We
mean,
get a
they
lot
were
of calls of people who are just in pain. And we try and tell them, maybe sit down, but they don't want to. They keep thinking that they can spin kick their little heart out. I think it's a different type of midlife crisis. I'm not sure. We haven't come up with a term yet of a midlife crisis in the hardcore community, but once we do, we'll be sure to announce it for
I think
sure.
it's like the turn when you start to like hockey. Like if you didn't like hockey already, once you start to like hockey, you've kind of rounded the corner.
Oh wow.
Um,
That
and it's
is
just
That is frighteningly accurate. We have to take the people from Boston out of that equation because they're crazy about hockey anyway.
right, right. If you've already liked hockey,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
in. Like you're good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
so
home
the
base.
the whole Boston hardcore scene, um, which is currently being run by Audio Karate, I believe, they can be taken out of that. Wrapping up because we have these calls about bags, apparently. Is there anything else that you want our callers to know? I know that we talked about babies, we talked about tours, we talked about a possible new album. Anything else, maybe where they can buy those fun little shirts or listen to your current album or anything like that?
We're just trying to stay relevant.
Hmm.
So,
Yes,
you
yes.
can find us on the Instagrams
Hmm.
and all that good stuff. Also, our website is the same as the tag, so mdwsband .com,
Hmm.
but Instagram obviously without the .com. So you can
Right.
find us there, keep up with us, and you know, we will be playing a little snippet of a new thing at the pre-show. I'll just say that.
Oh, well, everyone get there
They're early.
to hear that. What a bombshell. Yeah, that's very, very, yes, we all agree. So exciting. Wow, you heard it here
Thank you.
on the Hardcore Hotline. We
What a
have
blessing.
we have so many there's so many people watching this right now. So, wow. Big. All right. Well, Christopher, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be sure to come to that pre-show and listen to that snippet when you play it, obviously at the beginning of that show. The night before Furnace Fest, and everyone else can come too. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.